All righty. Fanboy Modeling School will start in just 5 minutes, people. Let's pass that link around, shall we, brother? Can you hear the music?
I can.
You cannot?
No, I can. I definitely can.
Okay.
There we go.
So tonight's going to be real fun.
Tonight's going to be incredibly fun, man. Shout out to Geeks and Gamers, man. Actually giving an objective opinion on something.
Oh, I can't wait to hear this. Save it for the stream, obviously.
I will. I definitely
the good stuff. Save that good stuff, you know?
Insane, man.
He said, shout out to good Geeks and Gamers for having integrity for once in their life.
No, and here's the thing. You know I got a lot of respect for those guys over there. You know what I'm saying?
I know. I watch them. I'm not going to...
While we're just doing some pregame talk, man, Campia had some interesting things to say today. Not interesting in a bad way. They were, we'll go over in the show in our hot takes, but I wanted to send you the link, but I was like, he's not going to watch it.
Oh, Campia. I will actually, if you send me a video, I will watch. I will watch a Campia.
Okay.
Yeah.
Which servers did you hit up so I don't double up?
Right now, I've only done myself, right. And then I'm spreading the word in the ones I follow. Who have you done?
I'm doing mine, so it might double up in yours.
Oh, that's fine. I'm gonna hit up Laney's now. Who we got up in this piece? We've got Lanio and we've got Rogue Radio. Welcome, ladies. We are going to start in just 2 minutes. In just 2 easy minutes. Make sure to tell your friends.
And Rogue Radio. Rogue, I need a link to your channel. I kept trying to find it the last time you called up on Mantis's show, and I could not find it because YouTube sucks. YouTube, if you're listening, you don't suck. Obviously, we'll take that cheddar. Shout out to RM.
What am I trying to do? All right.
Shout out to StreamYard for letting me be late on paying my bill yet again.
Oh, I love it. I love StreamYard in general. Like, they're good people.
Yeah, they send me really nice messages like, hey, Tribeca, a.k.a. Bex, the Pink Princess.
The Pink Princess, welcome in. The #1 fangirl. I love it.
Link away. Rogue Radio is waiting for the okay to drop the link.
Oh, yeah, feel free to.
Actually, Rogue Radio, if you're in Mantis's Discord, I would formally like to extend an invitation to have you come on my show, Conversations That Matter.
It begins. No, I'm kidding. Here we go.
What? Here we go. What? Trying to get that. Yes. Trying to get good interviews. Rogue Radio
trying to approach all my people, but no, Rogue's got a good message, so it's important that she get her out there. So I don't know what the words I'm trying to say. Do it, Rogue. Do it.
You don't control anyone, you patriarchal chauvinist.
Yo, don't get me started. I had this conversation today, yo. I was apparently a chauvinist because of the show Barry.
Barry.
Oh, we'll talk about this.
Okay.
stream starts. But I had an opinion about a certain character, and apparently I'm a pig. So, did you pass along all those things? I think.
Yeah. We're good to go. We're good to go.
We're good to go, which means we're gonna start this.
Dope. Rogue, if you're in Mantis' Discord, just at Steve, real name, no gimmicks, or Mantis will link us up. Mantis is a good guy. Oh, look at that handsome bastard right there. Mantis, what's going on?
I'm keeping it extremely real. How are you? You look very nice today too. But first, we've got to get ourselves.
Finally got a haircut.
Yeah, you're looking very sharp right now.
Thank you. You also have the curly hair syndrome. So, as you can tell, the longer it gets, the bigger the curls get. So I don't know where I'm going with this whole thing. But we'll see. I listen to this song in the shower every day. And I like
when you want to get gassed up, who you going out to the club?
Oh, Bex says you both look nice. Shout out.
Oh, thank you, Bex. Fanboy Modeling School. Yo, welcome to Fanboy Modeling School. I am co-host with that Mantis, and I am here with
your man Steve, real name, no gimmicks.
How are you tonight, Steven?
I'm doing really good. Let me just make sure my mic is the right mic and it's not picking up off my
Beck said, wait, hold on. Straight out there. We got to highlight this one right here.
Mantis may look a bit better though. That's because Bex is only into light-skinned guys. She admitted as much on
You did technically say that, but you don't understand. you dark guys have been shitting on us our whole lives.
I have not shitting on.
It's our
you both are too delusional to really accept that light-skinned guys have had their ebb and flows. I'll be sure. Sean Paul, get out of here with that. They don't get
Sean Paul. That was a crazy time.
The lights were out. Good to see you again, buddy.
Yeah, really great to have it. Obviously, best part of my week when we can do Fanboy Modeling School.
Yeah. Actually, I would like to say I'm stuck in the middle. So I'm in between Mantis and Wesley Snipes. So us brownies, we don't get no love, man. The brownies are constantly fighting and listening to the darkers and the lighters complain about something. And us brownies being reasonable are just like, what's the proper context here?
Well, I don't like to get political or racial, but I'm about to get both. And since the summer of love, since Black Lives Matter brought it on during that summer, like the darker the skin, the more like vocal power on the internet you have.
Yeah. At some point,
like a Nigerian to be heard nowadays.
So at some point, we got to talk about fundamental Black Americans, the FBA movement. We'll probably save that for. I don't know. I guess we'll save that for conversations that matter. I never like to bring that type of traffic to your channel.
We can do it. We'll see. We got a lot to discuss. I'm actually willing to break one of my own rules tonight.
What's that? What's your rule?
Because I already knew about a story that when we were surfing, when we were farming for stories, and you sent me one that I had already known about, but I didn't think to talk about. And I said, "Oh," and I here's what it is. I always have this policy of not roasting a certain YouTuber.
Right.
I even try to cover up this YouTuber's name.
Tonight we name names.
I'm not going to name names, but I'm going to put this person on full blast tonight.
Wait, so we're not going to name the person cited in the tweet? We got to share the tweet. I didn't take time to mark out the person's name. It's public record.
Well, then the show must go on.
Lainey, the selfie queen. That's why I dubbed Lainey. Lainey's selfie game black belt.
Stefani, welcome in. I haven't seen you in a stream in a long time. It's great to have you over here.
Stefani, I'm still apologizing for that night. I butchered your name in request box live, but I love you. I appreciate you.
Welcome in. Gray Winthrop says Minka Kelly dated both Jesse Williams and Trevor Noah. And just give him a chance.
Matt says, call GR out. Speak her name.
Yes. yo, Matt, you're right. It has to happen. This is going to be the night.
That's right. I'm the one that said it. You people will never give me my proper due. Hey, whoever speaks at my funeral, make sure Mantis is not allowed to speak. He's going to be like, I guess Steve was okay. And
oh
he said
no, I've already
something.
written your eulogy, and it is not nice. Very few flattering things to say about you, but
You do agree that like you got my list, right? For my enemies, folks, if you don't know, I have a list of people that cannot go on living once my demise has come, and there's
Right.
about 96 of them.
I'm on it. Just as long as I get to do the eulogy. That's the only way those assassinations take place.
Not assassinations, redestinations.
Right. I'm sorry.
We're redirecting.
We're on
people.
YouTube, but I think they frown on that kind of stuff.
So what do we got?
We've got a bunch of stuff. So first one we're going to do, and this is the major one that's going to connect back to the sinister, no good Nick. One we've got. I literally just changed the thing, bro. Sorry for the technical difficulties, guys. Number one, we've got Moses Ingram, who plays Reva or whatever way you want to pronounce it on Obi-Wan series. There's a lot of flack headed her way. Back to and fro. Is it fair? Is it justified? Is it true critiquing? Is it people being racist? Are people throwing the word around racist for, well, the wrong reasons? We're going to find out tonight. Also, we got to talk about the aftermath of Depp versus Heard, particularly a certain comedian, or let's just say a woman who thinks she's funny, Kathy Griffin, had some things to say about Johnny Depp, and I want to counter these. Next up, we've got Top Gun killing it. Is the pendulum swinging back in this country where people are into American excellence, the military-industrial complex, a white man with a machine gun mowing people down? We're going to discuss it. Then Diablo Immortal, the new game. People have discovered that mathematically it is a scam. Have you heard about this?
No, I am not a Diablo fan, and that's not because I don't like the game. I don't play it.
It's not my thing. Like it's a platform from another age. It's just like not part of my thing. But apparently they have creature stats that are so impossible to beat. You have to pay money. And people are calculating the money, and people are figuring out that it would take thousands of dollars for them to beat certain monsters.
Really?
Matt, I love your statement, brother.
Hey, do you have some other device on? Because I can hear an echo.
No.
All right, we're gonna power through.
You're right. Is it bad echo?
We're gonna power through.
I probably just have bad internet. That's what that is. And then the final one we've got that you showed to me, Chappelle was on a podcast, recorded it with some of my favorite old school rappers. Noriega and Black Star were on it. I really want to see this episode. Clearly, they were getting drunk and having a good time, and apparently Chappelle afterwards was like, it was in poor taste. We need to delete it.
Not delete it. Put it on ice.
Put it on ice for a time being.
Yeah.
When America cools its boots.
Yeah.
So we're going to get into all of that.
All right. So, you don't have to change the view. I'm just dropping my camera for a second. Don't freak out. All right, old man. Just don't freak out.
What's happening? I can't do this show alone. What is happening? Cats are befriending dogs. The sky is red.
I've decided I don't like the way I look drinking water on air, and it's too sexual in nature. So I've decided to stop doing it.
I know what you mean.
I like your pimp cup, man. What the?
It's how I drink my water.
So which one we cracking off with, man? Which one you want to? Let's not keep the fine people waiting. Let's offend.
First, let's check the chat because Gray Wyndham says Top Gun is a story about a man's struggle with his own homosexuality. It is. That is what Top Gun is about.
Okay.
You got Maverick, all right. He's on the edge, man. He's right on the effing edge, all right. You've got Iceman and his whole crew. They're gay. They represent the gay men. And they're saying, go gay all the way. I can't even remember the first Top Gun, but now you're making me want to watch it.
I mean, they were playing volleyball with hot boy shorts on.
Well, there's that scene, but I think the 80s in general was like that, right? Wasn't the 80s just filled with stuff that you're like...
It's filled with hot boy summer stuff, man. It's like the later the bicycle shorts, the better time you're having, man. No underwear with the bicycle shorts. Moose knuckle on full display.
That's a Tarantino monologue from a movie. It sounds like one. Is it actually? What movie? Why do I not remember that one? You have to watch the clip. Yo, we'll put on that clip. If it's a quick clip, we can play it. Which one do you want to start with? Do you want to start with this Moses Ingram one? Because I think that's what the people want.
Yeah, let's get started with Moses.
Hannah Banana HD, welcome in. Okay.
Oh, wait. So real quick, I am not caught up on Obi-Wan, right? But that's fine because it's not the type of show where I really care if it gets spoiled as long as it's not the last episode. But, Moses is catching some slack on the internet from the usual places, and I wanted to hear your thoughts on it,
Oh, okay, so I don't know if you heard my lightning review of episodes 1 and 2. I did do a real quick one for 1 and 2. And one of the things I cited was I was not impressed with her as a villain.
Right.
Now, right. I want to justify this real quick.
Okay.
Because apparently you have to, or you're a racist or something.
Well,
you can't just like someone's acting, just like they're acting. But let's look at Obi-Wan, right?
Mm-hmm.
Obi-Wan, the story so far, we don't mean his future stories. We mean the story so far. In Phantom Menace, he's an apprentice Jedi, and he gets attacked by the Trade Federation, and they have these crazy robots, and then there are these weird green aliens, and they have Darth Sidious and Darth Maul on their side, and he has this crazy adventure in space. And in the second one, he has to hunt Jango Fett across the galaxy, and he's flying through an asteroid field, and he's shooting missiles. He's doing all this crazy stuff. He goes to the droid foundries on Kameen, on Geonosis, and he gets captured and all this stuff. And then he's later on fighting like a rhino monster in an arena with all these bug dudes around him, right? And then in the third one, the galaxy is at civil war, and he's going around, he's chopping people's heads off, and he's killing his friends, and there's all this crazy shit, which culminates in him fighting a supervillain in the mouth of a volcano on a volcanic planet.
Best fight scene that may have ever been filmed.
Ever. And then this chapter, he's fighting a goth girl. What I'm saying is the problem is that Star Wars tends to have epic level villains that are over the top and insane. They have scars, they have weird masks, they have armies of robots. You have to go to crazy weird alien locations. He is literally being pursued by a goth girl through the desert.
Right.
And so I just feel underwhelmed by this.
Okay, let's do the rational critique here, right? So let me give the disclaimer. I'm not critiquing Moses as a woman or as a black woman in any of that regard. I'm going to give Moses the same critique that I give a lot of people who do these type of scenes that annoy me. And this was my huge complaint. I believe when you're doing any type of action sci-fi that requires action, acrobatics, or anything like that, I don't understand why they don't enlist the aid of more stunt men and women to do these things as like the main actor. Because the one thing that annoyed me about her character wasn't actually the character. It was when she was running across the building and she doesn't have and it's like she lacks the physicality to do it without it looking unnatural. Like even when people do wire work, there's a certain level of athleticism you need to make that look natural. That was my thing. In retrospect,
I agree about that.
That's a legit critique. You know what I'm saying? Like it's just it didn't look great. And people are like, well, why would you care about something like that? I'm like, well, this is supposed to be about, the Inquisitors, right? They're supposed to be not the elite, but they were Jedis or Padawans that have been trained up to be Jedi hunters. And there's a certain physicality. Let me prove my point even more. When the Grand Inquisitor fought Vader for the first time in the Jedi library, this is Darth Vader we're talking about, who has lost a step or two since he became Darth from Anakin. Right. But the Grand Inquisitor was extremely acrobatic and physical, right? Like he's a master lightsaber dueler. I assume that any Inquisitor underneath him who train, and Vader trains them directly, they're going to be at peak physical shape. I just want that played out. And that's something that Star Wars has suffered with for years. So that was one critique. The next thing was there were scenes where she had to be this kind of like really hardened, cold villain. And they just didn't land that well. And it's
Right.
not that she's not a good actress, or maybe even a great actress. I don't know her from any other roles. I think the things that I was seeing in some of those scenes, I was wondering if this is a character that she's able to play. But those were really my only two critiques. Like, I did enjoy the scene where she's grilling Luke's possessive patriarchal uncle who's trying to keep him away from
He's just his uncle. You're like, possessive patriarchal. He's just uncle. He's an uncle who's like, come home on time and do your chores, and you're like,
loser uncle, never did anything, never got off the sandbox uncle. I did love that scene she had with him, because that actually reminds me of some like pre or during civil rights interactions. You remember Enter the Dragon?
Of course.
Great movie. Remember the scene with Jim Kelly and the cops confront him while he's he's on his way to the tournament? It reminded me of that scene.
Oh, right. In the beginning.
It was very much like, so I enjoyed her in that part. Those are my critiques of her character. The person I have the most problem with in this show is not Moses, but it's little Princess Leia.
Oh, that's annoying. That's absolutely annoying.
So that's
you're right. And apparently I'm a monster for critiquing Princess Leia, because people were like, leave that little girl alone. I'm like, should every bad acting child just gets a free pass? We're not allowed to criticize them at all?
Yes, you got to leave children out of it.
And I would actually say that you can't, because everyone says Star Wars is for kids. Well, guess what?
Right.
Now there's kids in there, so they are in the line of fight. So
right.
I can fire at them. Sorry, little Leia, you're garbage. Take acting class.
Well, no one had problems taking shots at little Anakin. They tore him up.
To the point where he went nuts. That dude went nuts. He went to an insane asylum.
Yeah. The guy who played Jar Jar, whenever he goes to the city with his son, it's a very tragic tale. His life is a sad story after that.
They did, and Disney doesn't usually look out for people. They're actually horrible at doing that. They're actually monsters in that sense. But they actually did. After hearing his tale, so they made him on Disney Plus. There's like some sort of like Jedi Academy like game show for kids,
right?
And they made him the host.
Oh, they made Jar Jar the host.
Yeah, and so the actor who played Ahmad Best. So because he went through all this horrible teasing and bullying, and he never worked again, they felt bad, and they're like, give the man a job. So that was nice.
But don't pay him. Don't pay him.
He's like, what about the 20 years I suffered as an alcoholic on the streets? They're like,
sorry, bro.
but here's the thing. I have to say that, like, in terms of like, ultimately, I feel like my problem with Moses Ingram is the same problem I have with most of the production of the show. And I'm going to use this word, and it's going to sound like I'm a snob, like I'm a character straight out of The Crown or some shit. But the entire production is very pedestrian. Meaning that instead of like, all these other Star Wars movies or productions are crazy worlds and crazy things happening, and it's high energy, it's high concept. Everything in here is low concept. The battles aren't very particularly cool. There's not a lot of high energy anywhere going on. It's just kind of there.
Right.
And I feel like a better director or a better art director and a better director could have put this together.
And a better fight choreographer.
Yes. And so you didn't see the third one, but there is definitely a fight scene that deserved good choreography, and it didn't. It reminded me of the two old men swinging sticks at each other from A New Hope. And I'm not talking about the redone one that they've done in the future. I'm talking about the original one. Where the old men are like, yeah.
So let's get into the meat of it, man. The controversy. So she's been catching some slack from people. We can't deny that there haven't been some tweets, right? And this is something I hate that people do when they just gloss over the fact. They're like, well, there's just only a few tweets. Well, one tweet, maybe one too many. Not even maybe. It's one too many. What do you think about some of the tweets she's been getting?
Okay, so I have a conspiracy theory.
Okay, go for it.
So I am not saying they're fake.
Okay.
I think haters are going to hate, and they're trolls. And I promise you, every black man or woman who has ever done anything in the limelight, ever, whether it's music or whatever, has gotten a letter or a text or a tweet or something that has the N-word in it. And I'm certainly not saying that's all right. It freaking happens. But I believe that because Star Wars and Lucasfilm made comments about racism before it even aired, I believe that the executives watched the series that they were about to put out, saw she was not very good, and said, "Let's make this about race." And so they immediately did that whole thing, and they're like, "There are 20,000 sentient species in the Star Wars galaxy. Don't choose to be a racist." And I was like, "What?" And they said that before Obi-Wan came out. It was the day before.
Okay, can I counter that with something? Right, just playing devil's advocate here. Could they have done that given what had happened to the young Asian lady in the new trilogy, like preemptive strike? You know, like, do you think
that's very possible? That's absolutely very, very possible.
All right.
Yeah, I would, but Michelle. What is her last name? I'm sorry. I love her. I think she's great. I've seen her in other stuff. I think she's great. But I just think like the difference in this, like Finn and the Asian girl from the sequels are good at what they do, and I don't think Ingram's is like very good at what she does, and so that's the distinction.
Okay. Let me let you go on with your theory.
So that's why I'm leaning toward. What up, AJ? What up, yo guys? I hope it's all chill. It's Sash. Yo, come on in, brother. Typical rebel, holler at your boy. We were talking about Star Wars, particularly about the Moses Ingram. She's getting racism headed her way. Is it real racism? Are they just preemptively? So she's shown about 5 tweets, direct messages. One had an N bomb, hard R. No, it wasn't hard R. It was A. Not that it makes it better. And the actual poster was black, but yeah, basically he says he's like, what are you talking about? You're not the only N word in the Star Wars galaxy, is what he said. And that's the thing. I think people also don't like that. For instance, in an interview, she actually said, she's like, "Well, I am the first black character in Star Wars." I'm like, "Have you even seen Star Wars?"
What?
Yeah, like,
Billy D. Williams is like, "Get my Colt 45. I'm on my way."
And I'm saying some of the best characters in Star Wars are black.
Yeah, Billy, Mace Windu.
Yeah.
Freaking, I actually, hashtag Let's Make Finn Right. That's the new hashtag that I'm starting. Hashtag Finn's Revenge. Hashtag Finn Clone Wars.
Hashtag Tales of the Black Jedi. That's the show that should give Finn, right? Just go Tales of the Black Jedi.
Yeah, that's a bad take on her part. And obviously not researching the canon.
Well, she's also said something that I really don't like. It rubbed me the wrong way. And so she was on a podcast. It was clearly a very black podcast. And she said, you'd think that science fiction fans would be embracing of different races because there's all this weird shit in it. And she starts saying stuff like that. And she's like, sci-fi has all this nonsense and superpowers. And she started like talking down about the very genre of sci-fi. Like she's above it or not. Like she's like basically somebody who's never seen a sci-fi movie who got a role in Star Wars.
Right.
And like I don't like that.
I'm going to correct this on something. It's Kelly Marie Tran. That's the young lady's name.
Kelly Marie Tran. There we go.
She was great in Raya. Michelle. My kids love that movie. Okay. What's your conspiracy theory? Were you heading to the place that Disney put these out?
No. I believe that anytime you bring anything up about, here's what it is. If on the internet, if I go on the internet right now, and I say, do not, under any circumstance, I'm sensitive, under no circumstances talk about my white shirt, I'm going to receive 100 tweets telling me how horrible my white shirt looks.
Oh, you think they put the okie doke? You think they put the okie doke? Okay.
Yeah, and so when they say they're like, don't be racist. All these trolls are like, well, I'm going to be racist now. now you can guarantee that racism is coming because you brought it up. You brought the R word up.
That's very plausible. Here's the thing, though, man. A part of me wants to agree with that assessment. If it wasn't for the fact that all these strange people, it's not all these, some strange people on the internet reacted to Finn, and I'm having a hard name with young ladies tonight. What's his counterpart in not New Hope, Force Awakens? Daisy Ridley. Daisy Ridley Ray. Yeah. There was some reaction.
Forget her name.
Very bland. See, again, that's not her fault. It was a bad character. There was some reaction.
Her being a woman, I love it. As a matter of fact, I like the girl who almost got it. So she was in
I know who you're
She's
talking
the
about.
Asian girl in.
Yeah.
She was like the only Asian thing in Iron Fist.
Yeah, and that would have been crazy if she got that role. Actually,
that would have been a way better movie. No offense, Daisy Ridley.
but the young lady from Iron Fist, I'll have to look up her name now. She has the ability to be physical. She did great with some of those fight scenes in Iron Fist and the Defenders, which sucked. But there were some reactions, in the forums. I'm not talking about the stuff that they publicly release. You hang out in some of these same streets that I hang out in the Facebook forums and Twitter and stuff like that. And there was some, there's edgy jokes, and then there's like the line where I'm like, am I gonna punch you right now? Like,
right? No, I know.
But this is okay. So I was watching your boy, what's this guy's name? Black fellow on YouTube, Young Ripper.
Ripper, my man.
He's not buying it. He thinks that he kind of leans to that side, that he feels like that this was a preemptive strike by Disney because they knew that this show, not her character, but the show was going to fall flat, and they need to switch the narrative really quick.
I do. That's what I do think. I do think that's why they said it the day before, that they were like, "Come on, guys, don't be racist now. If anyone says anything about her, they're racist."
Yeah, I just want to acknowledge Shaolin's comment, because I'm a big Fallen Order fan. No one complained about Triller or Siri from Fallen Order. It's a game, but to be fair, a super popular one. And I'm going to do you one better, my brother Shaolin. I think that besides The Mandalorian, Fallen Order is the best thing to happen to Star Wars in years.
You know what's actually funny? I saw somebody, and I know you're speaking from your heart and what you feel. I actually saw a video about that very subject and them breaking down the importance of Fallen Order.
It's true,
and
man.
They're like in the new canon of Star Wars, it's a fundamental piece that they keep seeming to borrow from other, even the movies are borrowing from.
Bro, I really is your PlayStation still working, or what's going on there? You still need a PlayStation 4? What's happening?
No, mine works fine.
Bro, you need to play Fallen Order. The best part is it's Dark Souls type of combat gameplay, but the story is what really pulls me in.
It is definitely on.
It's so amazing. It's so amazing. But let's get back to this Obi-Wan debacle. That's where Young Ripper leans.
Look what Gray said.
Poor Tandy Newton was so excited to be in the first female black lead in Solo, but we all know they did not.
What they did to her. Yeah, so you remember, so she was with his girlfriend, and she's killed within the first 5 minutes of the movie, and you're like,
was it the first 5 minutes? No,
maybe not 5, but as soon as he meets the crew, they're like, we're gonna go on a dangerous mission, and
then she dives on top of the
they're like, what? And she was a big part of the marketing. They marketed her a lot.
Yeah, well, she's here's the thing, right? She was the first gun dancer we've seen in live play in Star Wars. Man, I'm still wanting my gun dancers. They're gonna give it to me one day, or I'm gonna completely boycott. But what do you think about Young Ripper's take? I know you slightly agree with him. He's essentially saying that we need to stop screaming racism on this. But
it's not also just this. We need to stop screaming racism on everything right now.
Okay,
straight up. People play that card too much. It is losing its effectiveness. 10 years ago, this would be a huge mega issue, and people would take it very seriously. Literally everyone and their mother is giving Disney pushback.
Right.
Like, we've got literally Ewan McGregor himself making videos being like, guys,
racism bad.
Don't be a racist. And people are like, shut up, old man. Shut up, Obi-Wan. Get in your place. Shut up and act, right? and they don't take it seriously. You know why? This card is pulled too often. Every little thing is racist. We're in an age where another black person could say something about her, and somehow they're like, well, you're racist.
Yeah, you're a Nazi.
People have the nerve to say, like, Bernie Sanders, they're like, he's an anti-Semite. Homeboy's a Jew from Brooklyn, and they're like, well, he's a self-hating Jew. I'm like, no, you non-Jew don't get to say who the anti-Semite is.
You know what's crazy? You know what is kind of racist? Google it, folks. Black characters being removed from Disney posters on the behest of who? Nazis. On the behest of who? The Taliban? No. China.
Yes. China. Yes. They did it with Black Panther. They did it with Finn on all the posters. They did. Yes. That is a fact. Facts are, it's in there. So Disney can't play that. We're not racist card.
Let them go out the back door. But you know what? Pink Princess did bring it up, man. I showed the young lady support, and I will show her that I will extend this. I don't like your character. right? And I don't like the character that was written. I don't like the changing of canon unless it improves upon canon or expands it or gets rid of something bad. But she does not deserve to be berated. So all to you, like to you mouth breathers that can't criticize, you learn how to criticize the character and not the person, unless the person says something worth being criticized over. You know what I'm saying? Like, you don't like the character, chop the character now and make sure you just put the asterisk in there. Like, hey, it's got nothing to do with the actress. I just don't think it's a great character, unless you think she's a bad actress.
I hate to be like ass like this, but she claimed that there were hundreds of racist DMs. Well, for starters, homegirl, you in Star Wars, what are you doing with your DMs open? For starters, right? That's weird. But if she has hundreds of them, show the receipts. If she's shown 5. And I wonder if are all of them racist or are some of them in like, yeah, Yusaka's an actress, which is not in the category of racism.
Yeah. But is it sexist?
So back to Princess Beck says, well, then who the fuck was on the Black Panther poster? So what they did is they made sure his mask was on and the Dora Milaje were taken off. So there was no actual black skin showing on any poster. Because they try to make it look like there weren't any black people in it. Like, they left in one of the posters. You know how there's a token white guy in it who works for S.H.I.E.L.D. and he's a comedian who's like at the end he flies the jet or whatever. He's still on there, but the Dora Milaje were all taken out. Homeboy is like that.
No one talks about it. No one talks about it. Disney caved for that market share. No one brings that up though. Why does that ever get brought up? Where are the mean tweets about that towards China?
Well, there's a bunch of stuff. There's a bunch of stuff going on, and there's a scandal. So about she should have shown receipts. Plus, I don't know if those 5 are even real. I can send myself horrible DMs too. So
horrible DMs all the time.
All the time. When I'm bored, I send slurs to myself.
like you mulatto son of a like you brown curly haired son of a
and so there's also other scandals that this is overshadowing all these other scandals. Like, have you heard about the guy in the Darth Vader suit?
No,
they didn't pay him all his money.
What?
So they didn't pay. So here's what's funny. He's a Ukrainian stuntman. Of all things, he's a Ukrainian stuntman.
Oh, bad timing.
Who's in the Darth Vader suit, who actually does the fighting. And he said, like, all the times that he had to do reshoots and also training, they didn't pay him for, which they were supposed to pay him for. And when he complained, they literally had they eventually did pay him, but they had the audacity to say, you don't need this money. Think about the fans. Homeboy even says in an article where he was being interviewed, he was like, I was having trouble paying my electric bill. They wouldn't give me money. So he made a huge stink. And then, he pulled, because of the war in Ukraine, he pulled the Ukraine card. That he was just saying, he's like, do you taking advantage of Ukrainian immigrant? He brought up all these things, and then they gave him his money. And then they actually said, they were like, we want to hire you back. And he actually said, I'm never going to work for you guys again.
Yes.
I honestly think that a lot of the messages that she's getting are racist. I mean, look at what these weirdos did to Amanda when she was in the Hunger Games and she was just a child. Yes, I agree. Like I have said, I don't think that they're not racist. Like, some people are trying to like skirt that they're racist. They're clearly racist. And I do think, like I said, if I'm like, guys, this is my black friend Steve, don't mention that he's black, we're going to get 100 tweets of racist. Because that's how the internet is.
Listen, you can mention it. I have no problem with that. And you can say whatever word you want. You just got to be dealing, whatever happens next, you earned it.
I'm saying they summoned these racists. You know what I mean?
They said their names 5 times and they showed up.
Right, yeah. That's what Disney did. They said we need a distraction from the how pedestrian Obi-Wan is coming out. Yeah.
Bro, but here's the thing, man. We were talking about this before the show, pre-gaming. So I was watching Geeks and Gamers, and I always, no disrespect to them, man, I always forget the main guy's name over there. I think it's Rob or something. And he agreed. Yeah, the guy with the cap.
Yeah.
Even he agreed, like, she doesn't deserve to get berated or any of those things. So everyone's on board with the concept and the understanding that no one deserves to be attacked because of who they're playing in Star Wars, right? You can critique the character, You can critique their acting, but just some shit is weird. But at the same time, you can't chalk everything up to racism. Now, if she is receiving like, good old fashioned down south racism, then we got to call that shit out publicly, or even if it's more subtle. But at the same time, where is the middle ground where you're allowed to critique something? And I think
you're not anymore. You've eliminated it in the world of identity politics. Once identity politics are up, so if she wasn't black, then what if let's say they cast someone else, someone who's Latino, maybe someone of the LGBT community.
Mm-hmm.
Then you can't insult them, or you can't push back on their performance because of those features.
Right. Okay.
So they get these protected people, and we're all evil if we say anything about them.
Saying the identifiers have become more important than the actual quality of work.
Oh, yes. And so I would just like to bring this up. Now, obviously, he's never going to tell us this thing if it did actually happen. But Samuel L. Jackson, he was beloved as Mace. I don't think people sent him.
I don't think I ever heard it. And he did horrible in the fight scenes, but I loved him as that character.
I would love him. He's like one of the greatest Jedis ever. And even in the first one, when he doesn't do anything in the first one, he's just sitting. He sits in his chair and he goes, and that's all he does. And I'm like, I love this dude. That motherfucker's real.
Well, wait, I want to go back to what Shaolin said. Trilla and
Siri or whatever
in Fallen Order. The woman who played Siri in Fallen Order was she's a comedian that was on that show Mad TV, and that's all I recognize her from. I actually met her in real life at a shout out Chili in My Soul, R.I.P. the restaurant I used to work at, and she came in. She was really, really nice, and bro, she's really good in this game. And I could see how if they brought her character to like the big screen or small screen, she's an amazing actress. And this is the thing I'm trying to point out. Like, at what point do we say maybe, hey, you're not the best at this character? You know what I'm saying? Like, you're not the best at this character, but that doesn't mean you deserve evil tweets. But if we find out you're sending yourself these tweets, that's going to be a real problem. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, no, like for instance, I always pull back on the lover when I'm tweeting, right? So there was the other day that I thought somebody sucked in something. I thought they did something really sucky in their show. And I was about to tweet the actor, and then I was like, they don't need to know that I think they had a bad performance this episode. And then I erased it. You know what I'm saying? So I don't understand. I really don't understand why people would send a direct message to somebody, by the way, you're a shitty actor. There's no reason to say that. You know what I'm saying? What kind of a person are you who does that in the first place? That's just
I get you. Well, I mean, that's the power of the anonymity that of the internet, right? People get to say every little thing on their mind and on their chest.
And I think people should pull back on this. And so this is interesting. What about bringing them to justice? Did she alert Twitter? Did she?
That's a good point. Don't hold back on that, young sister. Like, if they sent you, I hope you sent every one of those tweets to whoever responds to that stuff over there, since Elon fired everyone.
There's no one feeling it. There's no one feeling those complaints because they all got fired. So you know what I'm really worried about. This is me ranting more about the problems of everything's racist. It's like the black NASCAR driver, right? Mm-hmm. And so. And people afterwards said that he was a race grifter. He's not a race grifter. No. He thought he saw something, or his crew saw something that they thought was a noose. Turned out it wasn't there to be a noose. It was there for some other stuff.
Yeah, it was like a door locking mechanism. Yeah.
And what it is people are like, well, why is he lying? He didn't lie. He thought. Right. But the thing is, we live in such a tense society that a thing that holds a door looks like a noose to everybody now.
But it most certainly was a noose, but it wasn't intended.
No, you know what I'm saying? Like,
exactly.
Hold the door handle, not to threaten somebody.
Here's what happens when you turn a topic like racism into a partisan conversation, and when it becomes political fodder. Right? You're right. It's lost a lot of the validity, the weight behind the word, and now it's just used as a talking point, either against one party or the other. One screaming race grifter, the other screaming racist. And here we are, Star Wars fans, having this conversation, when in actuality, if we want to critique her acting, you're allowed to do that. You don't have to call her a bitch to do it, though. I think that's where we get a little loose sometimes. Leave that to the comedians. You leave that to Dave Chappelle, who we'll be talking about later. But Kathy Griffin,
we will
a
definitely
true comedic genius.
Yes. And so basically, in terms of Obi-Wan in general, I'm just going to say this. I think bad performances have always existed in Star Wars. Remember, Star Wars is based off of the serials, the sci-fi serials from the 30s. Flash Gordon and Sky Commando Cody or whatever.
What's that one movie that did horribly for Disney? It was a remake of a book, but that's actually what Star Wars is based off of.
What's his face of Mars?
Yeah,
John Carter, Warlord of Mars.
Such an amazing book, an amazing movie. I don't know why
the movie. For some reason, people shit on the movie. I had a great time. Remember, they're supposed to be cheesy performances, very over-the-top performances. What covers them up is the sci-fi trappings. So I'm telling you, if they had given her like a mask, it doesn't have to cover her blackness, but some sort of weird mask or tattoos, and she like hammed it up, that would be a better artistic choice than to leave someone just like in the middle. They're like, she'll wear black. I'm like, that's not
maybe a full year of fight training, right? Send her down to Shaolin Ice Boxer. Shout out to Shaolin Ice Boxer and his whole crew doing their thing.
Saberlight Knights.
Send her down there, man. Get that fight game up, and that would have made her more imposing. Here's a drastic idea. How about give her a fight scene? Fuck. What was that?
Yo, and I even said this in the first one. That instead of having her, and here's the choice that the director should have said. Any wise director, I really think all these problems are Deborah Chow's. I'm shitting on you, Deborah Chow. Yeah, you. The director and showrunner. She's directing all the episodes. She's the showrunner. Instead of having her just drive her sword or lightsaber through the chest of the Grand Inquisitor, since he's superior and he could sense it, a better choice was she attempts that and he deflects it, and they could have had a lightsaber duel.
Right.
And then she bested him. That would be a stronger choice than what they choose. They basically chose to do nothing.
Yeah.
When they could have chose to have something happen.
Yeah. I don't understand.
And so it's Deborah Chow who's screwing this all up. It's not Moses Ingram. She's not the first bad actress to be in Star Wars. It's not. We could have avoided all this stuff if someone who made a true director should have sat on first day, looked at her crew, looked at her, and go, she doesn't look like she's a Sith. Give her a weird helmet or a mask or something.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Or give her a face tattoo or something like, you know what I'm saying? Like that's what a wise person does. And so I'll give you an example. Like General Grievous in Revenge of the Sith is the cheesiest actor. Like he's like, ha 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 ha, you'll be in my grip and all this stuff. But it's because of the way he looks that we take him seriously, right?
Yeah, no, absolutely.
The helmet and all the weird stuff. So
you were saying that. I was just remembering the first time I seen that I watched Grievous on screen. I was just like, oh, I love this character. He's just like, like coughing like someone smokes cigarette sick grandfather.
Yeah.
I just want to prove my point furthermore. The Dora Milaje, you brought them up, and we were talking about in regards to Black Panther and China, etc. Did you know that all the backup Dora Milaje were actually dancers, and that's why they look so good in their fight scenes?
Brilliant. And a mask would have helped Reva, because you know what? If she physically can't do the parkour or the fighting, they could have a stunt double. And if she's wearing a mask, we would not know.
Yeah, we're all old kung fu fans. We get it.
And he points out, man says Sith all look not normal. Absolutely. Even her fellow Inquisitors all look weird, like weirdos. Yeah. Homeboy's got that hat.
Yeah.
I'm like, I don't know what that hat is, but you look scary.
Yeah, Palpatine, before he got marked up, he was just some crazy old looking college professor. Still very intimidating though.
He's the scariest villain of all time, an old rich white man.
Yo, I gotta divert for a second. How does Anakin not know who he's sitting next to during that when they're at the opera and he's just like talking about, what is his name? Darth what was Pelagius?
Darth Plagueis the Wise. Did they ever tell you the story of Darth Plagueis the Wise?
The tragic story. Yo, if someone says that to me,
story the Jedi would tell you.
Like, you tell me that story, I'm like, this guy's the bad guy.
Yeah, I'd be like, dude, this guy worships Satan. And Anakin's all stupid. He's like, what?
Uh-huh.
Yeah. But we're about to get into a different level of this topic, right?
Oh, here we go.
We got to get into the whole YouTuber X thing. So I'm going to say it right now. I was against using names in a lot of our streams because I was worried that we would be cited for bullying. Now, our channels are too small. Hold Up TV and Voice of Fat Man, we're too small to even be on this person's radar. I was a fanboy of YouTuber X in the past. I watched all her videos religiously. I thought she was really cool, and then she started kind of I felt like going off the deep end. And so when we started having the comment on her, I didn't want to use her name to try to be respectful and all this stuff. Right. So we called her YouTuber X. But in order to do the rest of our story, we're going to have to just say who it is because I'm going to criticize this person hardcore. I think it's time, particularly their coverage of Star Wars needs to be called out.
Right. Again, remember, we're attacking her ideas, not her as a person.
So it is from Beyond the Trailer, Grace Randolph. That's who it is. And so she is, and she's an OG reviewer. Possibly she's definitely the highest subscriber count. Princess Vex is just go for it. Just shut up. She's the highest subscriber count of any reviewer, nerd reviewer type person. Dragger. Yes, and so we've got to cover up the long history of her having bad takes on our things. So wait real quick. I gotta do some screen sharing. Where's your screen? Oh, how does it? Oh, there we go.
No, you don't have to endure her voice, Lainey. I promise you.
No, we do not. No, we're not going to do any video. It's not going to be any video. Okay, so here we go. So first, it starts with a tweet that she did, and so actually, before we get into, let's quickly get into the history of her issues with people who work at Star Wars. I don't know what her whole thing. Okay, so
go ahead.
Remember what last Christmas was? Not last Christmas, Christmas before that. When season 2 of Mandalorian was out, she pitched a lot of
bullshit,
saying that the main actor of the Mandalorian was fired or kicked or chased off set. He acted inappropriately in some way, and that he only finished half the season, and then the main characters would change in the season, and we wouldn't get an entire Mando season.
She quite literally said verbatim that I've heard there's been a lot of backstage drama on the set of The Mandalorian with Pedro Pascal regarding the demasking of his character and wanting more face time. This was the allegation that she levied. Right. That's what she said. She got it from her source, I should say. That she got it from her source. So.
And actually, she had the nerve to actually say, she said it multiple times. People didn't really believe her. And she said, you don't understand. My source is so high up, you wouldn't believe it.
Right. It's God.
And so her idea is that the management didn't want to show his face. He wanted to show his face because he's apparently some sort of egotistical pretty boy. What ended up happening is we got not only the best season of Mando so far, but at the end, there are 2 episodes in a row where he takes his helmet off. And he's able to do the episode with his helmet because of the storyline.
Right.
And nothing that she ever said worked out. When it came to her review of the finale of that season, she literally tripled down. Like she was a certain former president of ours. Somebody who will say, I don't care what you saw or what the numbers. I had the most amount of people at my inauguration. That was basically her. She was trying to spin it. She said, I was right, obviously. And we're all like, what? Her video got so ratioed. Now, those who don't know, ratioed means you get far more dislikes than you get likes. This is before they banned or covered up the numbers of dislikes. Tons, like thousands more of dislikes than likes. People were angry at her.
Right.
Recently, she's been pitching this thing that she says the Mandalorian, she still is tripling down. She's like, they don't like each other. They're going to have a season, but it's going to end at 3. And just the other day, Favreau said, we're writing season 4 right now. So nothing she says about Star Wars to date has ever been right.
Yeah, right.
And so just to let you know, she's really, really liberal. She virtue signals a lot, like it's her job. And so here's a tweet that she got. Right.
Yeah. So this is a drop in regards to people talking about obviously what's going on with Moses, and I want to give a quick shout out to the people who actually did some fact checking for Gina Carano. But let's get into what Grace Randolph says here. Yes, you can critique hashtag Star Wars actors and characters. Capital, no, race and gender are not valid criticisms, and under no circumstances should you harass any talent in front or behind the camera. I hope Moses Ingram stays on social media. She's a badass and is great on Obi-Wan. And, when I was watching the review of these tweets by the cat over there at Geeks and Gamers, I got to say, this is the part where he was extremely objective. And he's just like, no, I agree with that 100%. No one should be harassed.
Every part of this right here, I'm enjoying this tweet. This is a good tweet. All of her points are valid. This is not. I'm not attacking her for this tweet. This is the good part of her. Right?
I agree.
Okay, and then our story continues, guys. Our story continues. Can you guys see that? Did my switcheroo work? There we go.
So Mr. Man.
Mr. Man, whoever that is.
Mr. Manny, replying to Grace Randolph, says, unless you're Gina Carano, I guess. And then Grace responds.
Wait, real quick, just so you guys know, obviously you all know.
Right.
Gina Carano, she's a beautiful treasure to to both the Star Wars universe, but our world. She plays Cara Dune on Mandalorian. She was basically hated on because of her politics, because she was an open conservative, and she was harassed and run out and chased out of the job, basically.
So she did a tweet where she was essentially commentating on the state of modern day politics in regards to media coverage, etc. And she used a picture of some Jewish people, I believe, in line at Auschwitz, and said in a quote, I should have had this pulled up so we're ready to go. Essentially, alluding to the fact that we're getting to or heading to a place where neighbors were going to start turning on their own neighbors because of political affiliation. And she never actually said which side would be turning on which side. She just alluded to that it was something that could happen. Also, I want to throw in there for more context, because we're going to get into the shit right now. Gina Carano is also a former kickboxing champion and was the first female Strikeforce champion, I believe, at 135 pounds, 135 or 145. She lost her belt to Cyborg, who would later get knocked out by Amanda Nunes many moves later. But here's the thing. Gina Carano is a very soft-spoken, soft-hearted soul, right? I don't know her on a personal level. I don't know what she's like in her day-to-day. But everyone who's ever met her said she has been extremely pleasant. I mean, even the people who she was negotiating $1 million contracts with to beat other people up legally inside of a cage or octagon. I find it really funny, though, and this is going to be the street side of me coming out. Grace Randolph is very comfortable in her ivory tower. So let's compare the two. One of them can quite literally wrap her legs around your arm and your neck and squeeze you in a way to make you lose consciousness. The other one could make you lose consciousness with her bad takes on Jessica Chastain and political views.
Right. So here's the thing. Here's what it is. Grace is from the Upper East Side of New York. Very wealthy. Very wealthy family. Very wealthy person. Very privileged white woman.
Yeah.
More privileged than most. When people are like, white privilege, take whatever that is for whoever you're referring to and times it by 3.
Yeah. If you live within 3 to 4 to 10 blocks of the Met, you're doing pretty good.
Yes. And so she strikes me as somebody who, like, she doesn't, like, we're all thugs to her. We're all thugs and animals. And Grace does. She wouldn't understand that kind of. So she feels like she's like, well, I'm rich and wealthy. I can talk shit about anyone I want.
Right.
And society is here to protect me. Is her concept.
Here's the next thing. She has not only had bad takes on Star Wars. She's had bad takes a few times, and you're allowed to do that as a content creator. I've had bad takes. Mantis has had more bad takes than I have. And
thank you.
No problem.
Thank you for that.
But she's had other bad takes, and it happens. That's not the issue. The issue is here. Go ahead. I'll let you read this one.
So Gina, so she does that, and people are chiming in, and a war is starting. And as a matter of fact, I'm going to report right now, according to Social Blade, and actually, if you actually see her numbers, Grace Randolph originally had 943,000 followers or subscribers on her thing. She dropped about 1,000.
Yeah, she's been struggling to get to 1 million. She never quite, she hasn't broken the 1 million mark yet.
Well, but so she lost a lot because of this. She was pissing a lot of people off. But Gina Carano herself, decides to chime into what a tweet of a YouTuber did. So that's pretty cool. But she says, finally, someone wrote an article about what actually happened. Thank you, Bounding into Comics. And then she says, at Grace Randolph, I don't wish you any ill will or hate. It would just be nice if you would stop spreading malicious lies for over a year now. You do a disservice to yourself and Critics' Choice, which Grace is a member of the Critics' Choice Society.
Right.
And so that has happened. And because of that whole thing, she's lost over 1,000. So instead of her metrics going up, it has been going down.
Right. I think the part that we're glossing over is that Grace claimed that Gina Carano made anti-trans statements, and I'll let you do your own research and look at what where that whole thing started. But essentially,
the bad one. Okay.
Essentially, what it boils down to, or what a part of it is that Gina Carano, being cheeky with her pronoun section, put some cheeky stuff in the pronoun thing.
So, the real quick history is that Gina Carano, and this is the world of Twitter. This is horrible. Gina Carano originally liked. She didn't say it. She liked a tweet where somebody was making fun of men who put their pronouns in their bio. She said, I went on a blind date. I looked him up, but the red flag should have been that he had his pronouns in his bio. And Gina Carano laughed, like she thinks it's funny. She likes it. Then apparently the trans community didn't like that she liked it. Investigated that apparently they're watching what you like. You can't even like something. And they demanded, prove you're not anti-trans by putting your pronouns in your bio. The pushy cult that it is. And what does she do? Being a woman who doesn't take shit, she writes beep boop bop as her pronouns, which apparently is that's the equivalent apparently to that cult of taking a dump on their flag or something. They're like, oh my god, she's making fun of pronouns. And so she became public enemy number one, and then the trans community just on Twitter was attacking her left and right. And that's wrong. She has never said anything anti-trans or any. There's nothing going on. There are no tweets or anything. There's no receipts.
Yeah, you can't find it. You won't be able to find her saying anything that you can even remotely say is derogatory. Not the first Disney Star Wars star to go through this. Shout out Rosario Dawson, also falsely accused of being a transphobe by a person that falsely accused her of attacking them. So I just want to put that out there. Disney's not coming to get you back. Anyone, they're not backing you up. You're guilty until proven otherwise.
Right.
Go ahead.
So basically, Gina, as Maz pointed out, being a queen, holds her head up high. Of course, and then after that, she kept on putting more and more conservative output on her Twitter until finally she put the one that people thought was anti-Semitic. She said basically we're all going to be sent to concentration camps at this rate.
Yeah, right.
And then Kathleen Kennedy fired her.
Mm-hmm. It came down on high.
Yeah,
to Kathleen Kennedy's desk. We all know who it came from. Some new management had just come into town.
It's actually funny that Kathleen Kennedy has to handle it because Kathleen Kennedy is proving to be the worst manager that ever existed.
She's that manager you work with at a fast food restaurant. Like, I don't want to talk to Dave about being late.
It's sheer incompetence coming out of that office. Yes. But as we all know, she's an executive, and a lot of executives, they her contract got renewed. Ugh. Even though she's getting all these fails.
Right.
So I don't know what's going on with that. But I gotta say honestly, going back to the whole Grace Randolph thing and all these things. Her original tweet was clearly a virtue signal. She wants to be down with the hyper left crowd that controls Twitter.
Right.
who's probably insincere. She probably doesn't care about any of these people or any of these things or races.
I disagree. I think that she's a true believer. I think Grace Randolph truly believes the things that she's saying, but the problem is you can't be right all the time. And in this instance, she was wrong. Like, she was absolutely wrong. You should have fixed your mouth up and did some research before you said something like this. You just can't make outlandish claims like you used to, Mantis, when you were younger. Like, there's got to be some substance behind it.
Well, I gotta say that, you know how
you don't believe her. I know you don't believe her.
No, but you know when people say horrible things, and then you realize that you're like, that person is saying that about them, but they're really talking about themselves. And so she has a real problem with Jessica Chastain for whatever reason. She ended up doing, what she said in one of her things, that she said, Jessica Chastain has never met a bandwagon she didn't want to jump onto. That's actually Grace. Okay, Grace is the queen of jumping on bandwagons.
I can agree with that.
That's what this is. Being woke and Twitter woke is the bandwagon. Trust me, if Nazism was cool tomorrow, she would be on that bandwagon as well.
Well, it shares the same parallels, right? A lot of people jumped on that train, and be careful of using that N-word. You are live on Twitch and YouTube. Algorithm will pick it up no matter how few subscribers you right now. It just perked up like,
wait, what's happening?
But no, a lot of people who joined that camp were bandwagoners. They didn't have any real issue with the people that they were, targeting. And yeah, I agree with that. I just think about Grace Randolph, man, and this is where I might jump out the window a little bit, is that being an OG on YouTube, she's struggling to grow her market share and stay relevant at the same time, right? And she's been doing this so long, man. I won't say she failed at being a hired critic on a local news station, right? But that show got canceled, or that segment,
right? Or that segment, she was on Good Morning Connecticut or something.
Yeah, shout out Connecticut. And but she's trying to break through. It's weird that the length that she's been on YouTube, that she has not broken 1 million yet.
No, once again, we are nobody to criticize someone for their
no. I'm not criticizing it for a number. I'm making a point. This doesn't have to do with criticizing for a number.
Your point is right. No, your point is right. I was just saying. I wanted that as the disclaimer.
Man, fuck the disclaimer.
I'm all about disclaimers. I'll be like, not that I would ever insult somebody's face or their body. But you an ugly fat bitch.
Yeah, but it's insane, right? So I've always asked myself, because I've enjoyed some of her reviews. Actually, when I first got into Grace Randolph's show, I was like, man, this is really refreshing, because it was obvious that she was a fan of the content. I love some of her comic reviews. I do want to read on.
So she was back in the day. She was awesome, and you know what it is? She has she's paint by numbers YouTubing at this point. And she used to actually put energy and creativity into her things, particularly on that show. She had another channel called Think About the Ink.
Yeah, I know that one.
That was all about comics. Loved it.
Great.
She used to do all these things. Like, I remember one of her videos that stayed with me. She said, "Are you a Marvel or are you a DC?" And she did a parody of, remember that commercial where whether you're a PC or you're a Mac?
Mm-hmm.
And the Mac's like a cool guy, and the PC is like a fat loser. There's two guys standing in a white room, and it's like, are you a PC or are you a Mac? And then they're comparing each other. She did that thing, but whether you're a Marvel or you're a DC.
And which one was the fat guy next scenario?
Well, obviously the fat guy is DC.
Yeah, fat loser.
But anyway, I'm saying she used to put real creative spunk into her videos, and at this point, she doesn't even like any of the content that she reviews. The reason why I don't watch a lot of her reviews is she's just shitting on it. She goes, it was all right. I don't know.
But here's the thing. I will say this, and I'm not defending her, but I'll say this. Apparently, she's great in the meetups. Like, whatever meetup events she's ever done before, people have always said that she really shows up emotionally for that type of stuff. But my point is just this, man, about Grace Randolph. You don't get to be wrong so many times without publicly stating that you're wrong. That's all it ever takes to be like, yo, this was a bad take.
Admit that she was wrong.
Bro, let me just, like, when you go at someone like Campia, who essentially is just some nerdy nice guy on the internet, and you try to drum up a narrative, that makes you look bad. When you make up a scenario in which the the star of the show is walking off, and it's going to drastically change the dynamic of the show moving forward, and then when people call you out on it because you were wrong and you double down on it, that will make people distrustful of you, and if you're the type of person to hit mute on Twitter or block on Twitter because you don't like contrary points, you're not built for this. I would never begrudge anyone for having a political view and bringing that onto their show, whether they be far left or far right. But
I definitely do. Are you kidding me?
You got to stand in the fray and defend that shit. You can't be blocking people. You got to stand out there and do it. And then once and for all, we need to know why she's sleeping under Jessica Chastain's bed. Why is she outside this woman's window looking for her constantly? What is that beef about?
So you know the video where they think it's about Jessica Chastain is talking about Grace?
Yes.
Where they're like, she's like, this one YouTuber was just really harsh on me and just hating on me all the time. And then I looked at her work and I realized there's a lot of pain in her personal life.
Yeah,
she's just projecting, and I love that. I was like, yes.
She basically said in so many words, she's a very unattractive woman, and I could see how seeing me every day could be very hurtful to her. I'm not saying that Grace is unattractive. That's what Jessica Chastain. Matt, what was the name of the showrunner, the movie runner, the producer or director of a movie who fired shots directly back at Grace with a tweet? Do you remember who that was?
I know who that was. That's Kathy Yan. And that was Birds of Prey. Yes. Another bad take from Grace, where Grace insisted that the main plot was about chasing a dick pic. Like, she was like, "Oh, the main plot's about being a dick pic or whatever," and all this stuff. And then the director tweeted, was like, "Yo, what are you talking about? That's not in my movie at all."
Yeah, I remember that. I absolutely remember that. It was supposed to be about I was like, this is going to be a weird movie, man. That's something that only me and Mantis do on the weekends. I'm trying to retrieve them. Shout out to Apple finally putting the delete and re-edit option and sending out text messages. From now on, send something bad on your Apple phone, you can delete it if you're
or edit
it.
Rogue says, I love that you both are respectful about the left and right politics. I mean, I consider myself a moderate. Here's what I'm saying. What I mean by moderate is some of my ideas are very left and some of my ideas are very right, and I don't fulfill the either party's checklist of.
I just want to hold both parties accountable and all their zealots, right? You got to be consistent with this stuff, and if you're going to say a bunch of things, you got to be willing to defend it. That's all I'm saying, right? With Grace Randolph, you have to be willing to step in the fray. Actually, I think her channel would go to the next level if she was like, "I'm going to start responding to some of these tweets. I'm going to start calling people out who come at me." Like, that might be the next step for her, but she's not going to.
Oh, right. I forgot that she said Bane was in the Peacemaker show.
Right.
And she kept saying that. And then James Gunn directly addressed her on Twitter. And he said, "Why are you saying that? That's not in my show."
Yeah. And I think she even alluded to, correct me if I'm wrong, or suggested, or maybe I imagined this. Didn't she kind of allude to the fact that they changed it because the story broke, and kind of did the same thing with the Mandalorian Pedro Pascal take?
She pulls that on the same all at the end. She was just like, "Well, they were gonna do it in the last minute. They changed it." And it's like, you keep getting bad takes. Just admit when you're wrong. You could be like, "My source was wrong."
Yeah.
Because if she really had a huge, powerful, like super uber powerful person at Lucasfilms, she should not ever get a wrong take on Star Wars. Right?
They probably pump out false information. I'm just saying, you got the perfect out with saying it was my source. And this is why I have an issue with people on YouTube calling themselves journalists. That's a word, just like racist, that has lost a lot of validity. The journalistic integrity portion that they should all be talking about has lost. So what if your source told you something? You don't freaking you don't verify what your source is saying. You don't go to see if there's another source. You're not going around like, I don't get it.
And for instance, it is funny that Grace does refer to herself constantly as being a journalist. And I gotta say, I don't guess you don't need to go to journalism school to be one, but she went to school for film, and I don't mean directing, because she started as a directing major and ended up having to pivot to like a production major because she didn't have the artistic merit to maintain that.
And don't worry, go ahead. I'm sorry.
And so she's the administrative part of film. What was her major? So she has no journalism education at all.
And this critique goes both ways, man. That's why I don't like when people refer to Tucker Carlson as a serious journalist. I'm like, no, he's an opinion Peace.
That's all opinion. It's a dude spouting opinion. Like basically, they just took a wealthy out of it white dude, and they're like, "We're gonna film him for 24 hours, and we'll break him off into segments. Talk."
You know,
And
he's a content creator.
talking and talking.
He's
Yes,
doing review videos
YouTuber does.
all day long.
All opinions. It's all not always facts. It's just him talking. You know. And then also, like I said, they break them in I feel like they break them off in segments because some episodes are clips. Because YouTube keeps forcing them on me. Some clips feel like I was like, didn't I already see this? And I didn't. It's like a different episode, but it feels like they all feel the same, basically.
You know what's crazy? He's a bit of a prodigy. He shares that in common with Ben Shapiro. Tested very high IQ wise.
This is why we don't like these guys, because they're nerds. They're like real.
They're like real nerds.
A
like,
real nerd where you're like, they're socially inept, and you're like, I'm gonna take your lunch money now. Some smug nerd telling me how the world is.
Yeah, but no, again, man, in regards to this situation with Grace and Gina, here's what I like. I like that Gina responded, and I like that she responded with class and decorum, and it was just kind of like it wasn't I can come and end your life. I'll beat you up and everyone in the room with you. It was just like bam. And shout out to whatever she's doing over at the Daily Wire. She does have that new film out with Donald Cowboy Cerrone.
And actually, we should talk about that a little. And so we'll put the end on the Grace Randolph thing. As a person, I think she's a lovely person. I think she's an awesome person. But she has rubbed me the wrong way as a content creator, where I've had to stop. Like, I don't subscribe to her anymore. It was at the point back in the day. I was actually I was a member. I used to pay to be able to talk on her live streams and like all these things. But she just got so many things wrong and just refused to admit it, that after a while I was like, okay, I'm kind of done here. If you're going to be an ass, I don't want to participate in this, right?
All it takes is to admit you're wrong when it comes to a bad take. And people would, even with real journalists or people who claim to be real commentators, et cetera, just admit when you had a bad take. Don't make excuses like, I got this one wrong. And if she does that, people will give her credit. But also just leave Gina Carano alone at this point. She's living her own life, minding her business, dude. And you know what? She wasn't that great in the Mando either, bro. She's like
false. I love her.
No, bro. Let's keep it a buck. Her acting isn't that great, but physically, she did well in the role. Don't you dare say she's a good actor.
This is what I'm talking about Star Wars. You don't have to be a good actor to be in Star Wars, but your character has to have a shtick, and then we'll like you. And so she's like a heavy weapons bad bitch with like a teardrop tattoo for Alderaan.
That's a mole.
It's a teardrop tattoo.
It's a beauty mark.
Dude, it's part of the plot. Remember, he actually said that.
I know, I'm just messing with you.
Remember the guy? That's a great scene too. When they ambush the shuttle, and he's like, "I see that tattoo," and he's like, "I was there when Alderaan was destroyed." Like, it's a great, and she shoots him in the head. Like, that's a great scene, man.
Yeah. But she's not a great actress, but she's
really an MMA
fighter. She's like Keanu Reeves in Star Wars. You love them because they're lovable and they're a good person, and she did great in the fight scenes, man. But again, why would Grace come after?
Just leave everyone alone, Grace. Stop bullying. Stop bullying. That's all we want. The Daily Wire is becoming. I think they're trying to become their own like conservative Netflix.
They have, and it's not really. And so here's the thing. Here's what they're going to push over an edge. So obviously, spoiler alert and hot take. They just released a new documentary. Matt Walsh, What Is a Woman?
I actually saw that.
I'm not going to talk about it on Mantis's channel. We have to come up with a neutral place where we can talk, where people can be adults about.
Did you see it or no?
No, I was one of the people when the site crashed that couldn't get on.
Oh, so I don't subscribe. Actually, I shouldn't say this. I managed to see it in a way. So I like that.
Anyway, Daily Wire they're doing great things. They got their own film production. The quality on the film that she's in, Gina Carano and Cowboy Cerrone, it doesn't look like it's like some poor movie house filming it.
Yeah,
like,
they're really doing it. What is it called? Terra on the Prairie.
Yes.
It looks good. It looks actually really good. And actually, did you see Run, Hide, Fight?
No, not yet.
That's fucking great. And so that's a pro gun. That's a pro gun thing.
It's just a balanced approach, folks. All I'm saying is, like, they have the right to make this content as long as they're not throwing up Swazis and
right. But it's done in such a clever way. So check this out. It's about a young lady whose dad is like a Marine, so he teaches her daughter all this stuff, like how to use guns and how to hunt and be self-reliant and all this stuff. And then he sends her to school one day, so they're country living, and some kids come and start shooting up the school. And everyone else she runs and she hides. It's kids are still dying. Teachers are dying. And she's just like, F this. And she ambushes one of them. She gets his gun and she fights back.
Yeah.
And at the end, the moral is like, if you teach your children how to use guns, they can protect themselves.
Wait, can I just slow down for a second? I can't remember if this was a thing or not. I feel like it was, or someone talked to me about it, but you remember that god-awful movie Arnold Schwarzenegger made where he's basically like a sheriff and his family gets killed by the cartel, and then he goes on the revenge spree to find out what happened to his family, and he's just murking cartel members? There were people that took issue with the response, man, like that he was a character killing cartel members. So the fact that the Daily Wire made a movie like this, I enjoy this concept. Man.
Respect, right?
Very, very much respect. Very much respect there. But they're doing their thing over there, right? They're doing their thing. What are your thoughts?
Well, they're making. So here's what it is. They're making high budget movies, and and basically like it's really a political platform that you subscribe to. But they're going to start doing fiction and stuff too. And if to be honest, I want to support Gina Carano, I might subscribe to it just so I can see Gina Carano films. She's going to make multiple films for them.
So here's the thing, man. Some people have said the one place that the right or the Daily Wire and right-leaning commentating shows or just the political right has failed at miserably is engaging the culture, right? The artistic culture, engaging people's creative portions and bringing media. I've said this 1,000 times and I'll say it again, man. Christian content sucks, bro. And it's like to see someone actually putting some effort into making, I don't want to say right-leaning, but yeah, it is. It's right-leaning content and they're engaging in a way and it's actually done well. That's going to bring them back into the culture war, man. That's going to get them back in the fight there.
Absolutely. And so here's what it is. It's in my opinion, it is not that the right isn't artistic or doesn't have artistic bones or can't write a movie or can't do any things. The fact is that left-leaning people have controlled Hollywood for countless years. They're not letting conservatives in. So their viewpoints aren't being sent. But now that we live in the age of the artist where like you and me could go buy a camera and make a movie. Imagine what a company like Daily Wire can make.
I'm not disagreeing with you. I'm just saying that a lot of, let me not say right-leaning. All I'm going to say is God is not dead. God is not dead. Horrible.
Oh, you're saying the movie. I thought you were saying the statement.
No. I'm not going uber religious. Like you understand what I'm saying? Like,
yeah, a lot of these Christian movies are it's like that. And what's weird is actually they make a lot of. What's actually funny about those movies is they make a lot of money compared to the investment. Like they're like, we'll put $2 million in and they'll make $100 million. And I'm like, that's amazing.
Yeah.
Because people do want to see that, but there's never been a high budget Christian movie in forever.
I mean, unless you count like the Passions, you obviously have to count Passions, right?
Right. But however, they did everything in their power to destroy the careers of everyone who worked on Passions.
Oh, 100%.
The guy who played Jesus, he almost never worked again. He was like on TV here and there, but he never.
Actually, he's in the movie about the Apostle Paul, which is also actually I take that back. That was a great movie. He plays Luke. Obviously,
what is the movie? I got to see it.
I'll send you the link. It's actually really, really good. It's about the last days of the Apostle Paul and Luke, the physician who wrote the Gospel of Luke, comes to visit Paul while he's being held in Rome by Nero, and it's a really good movie.
As a Sunday school teacher, I love all that. I love all Christian historical stuff. So
I'm surprised you haven't seen it. It was actually really good. I just want to talk to you a little bit more about this narrative, this what's going on at the Daily Wire. So I don't want to talk about what is a woman. I'll let the audience go research that and make up their own decisions. But did you hear the controversy about the release? Which, by the way, it killed it. It killed it on the release. Apparently, there was a dump, like a server dump where they basically log jam the amount of dummy accounts heading into the server. So it's kind of what used to happen at Spoon, where other people can't get on.
Right.
But it didn't stop the premiere, and it did extremely
I did
well.
hear that. I assumed that right-wing YouTubers were just kind of exaggerating, but
no, this is coming from Matt Walsh and Shapiro.
no,
and
but I
those
do
guys.
believe that it makes sense that they would happen, because I got to say that the trans movement in general, they have agents everywhere. They're hip to this kind of scene, and it's something they would do.
Yeah.
I gotta say, I'm gonna say this. I'm just gonna say this about this movie. The first 20 minutes did not impress me, but after the first 20 minutes, the movie really impressed me with its structure and the way it's done.
I heard that. I heard all of that.
It's like maybe not a fun, because it deals with some dark stuff, but it was a well done documentary. So I would actually give it an A. So
yeah. So do you remember when Fahrenheit 9/11 came out?
Yes.
No, not people. I am feeling the same buzz. I'm feeling the same buzz around this documentary as Fahrenheit 9/11. Like it's cultural importance, no matter what side you lean on the conversation, because they trolled hard Daily Wire. I didn't realize they released it on the first day of Pride Month either.
I didn't realize that either. I didn't realize that. I didn't make that connection. But, I'll say this.
Right.
The pendulum, and I believe in the pendulum. What is hip and what is cool goes back and forth.
Swinging right and left.
Currently, the true rebels, actual rebels, like, the way original hip hop was or original rock and roll was, rebels, people who are like F the system, are conservatives.
Yeah.
If you get your political information, if your political views line up to something that has like multiple cable channels or on your side, and mainstream news is pitching that same thing, guess what, homeboy? You're not a rebel. You're not. Someone's like, I'm a rebel because CNN says that I am. Shut the fuck up, you idiot.
You're an NPC, is what
you're an NPC. Yes, thank you. You're an NPC. That's well phrased. You're an NPC. You're just whatever breeder or whatever, and you're not thinking. You're certainly not being rebellious. You're not being an individual.
No, not at all.
And what's weird is that people don't. What it is it hasn't caught up to realize. But the actual true rebels, the people, the true rock and roll, the true metal motherfuckers, the true hip hop stars, are freaking conservatives. That's the age we live in right now.
Well, I mean, because they're counterculture right now, and it's sad that you have to dig so deep to find a perspective. You know me, man. I like a balanced approach. I want to hear both sides of the arguments, but here's where the right is losing in regards to content creation, right? We've had people who are content creators who are right.
Well, they have Grace Randolph. The left has Grace Randolph. It's not like it's over for us.
Shut your filthy mouth. Like right-leaning YouTube commentators who will go unnamed right now, but I watch a lot of their content, and they're more than willing to debate young kids on the street and smaller channels. But when it comes down to debating the left's best debaters in regards to content creation, they shy away from that. And what I need to see more of is I need to see more right-leaning people besides Ben Shapiro engaging in these social discourses, not just on Twitter. Like, hey, let's get the podium out, let's get the tables out, let's get the audience there, and let's get this cracking, man. Let's debate these points.
So I do. Here's the thing. Actually, the right YouTubers are actually doing a great job out there.
Not in regards to debate. Does the left side actually go and debate? Does like Hassan Piker actually go and debate people? No one's talking
does he sit on his own throne?
No one's talking about that psychopath. He's not.
He's like, worship me. I'm a leftist.
But you say, for instance, what happened with Crowder when someone showed up on his show unannounced. Right. And Crowder ducked out on the actual debate that was scheduled for them.
But I do respect that Crowder goes to the colleges and does that thing.
Yeah, I don't dislike that. I like that he engages the kids, but when it comes to engaging of ideas, I don't want you debating a screw brain kid. I want to see you go against the best, right? I want to see the best.
He's going against very easy targets. He's taking very easy targets.
That's all I'm saying.
I know you love debates. You know why you love debates?
Oh boy, here we go.
You're a fighter like Gina Carano, and you like a good fight.
No, I love debates because that's when you get to see people validate their points, their best laid arguments in defense of their points.
I don't love debates.
I know you don't.
Yeah, you know why? Because sometimes the arguments that one up people aren't always the most intelligent arguments. They're just like a popularized version of it.
Yeah, I don't like, and that's not a debate. That's appealing to your base. I actually want a moderator there. I want people to be held to the
But you
point.
know when somebody pulls out they pull out some like thing that makes the audience cheer, and then you're like, wait a minute.
That point was idiotic.
Yeah.
Yeah. I know exactly what you're talking about. It's happened to me a few times.
And so Gray's pointing out that Hassan used to debate people. He doesn't anymore. He says nothing gets done. It's true. The truth is, during debate, you have to realize you're never going to convince the other side.
That's not what it's for. That's not what it's for.
It's not what's there. It's for people to watch, and
yes, it's for
really
the
audience, not for the thing.
I think we have the wrong idea of debates nowadays. We need to go back to the Roman Greco understanding of it. Let's get a couple of guys in togas standing up there with the pose and you know what I'm saying, like
headlocks, rear naked show.
Max's fanboy modeling school.
Hello, public friend. Welcome.
What's up, public?
Yo, I love this. I love this right here. Fanboy modeling school should moderate the debates.
It would be amazing. It would be
for the left and right YouTubers. Oh my god. Yo, in terms of my main trad wife, trad with a D.
I'm sorry, what's that?
My main trad wife just
what does
quit
that word
YouTubing.
mean?
Traditional.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
So the trad wife movement are they're content creators who are women who are like, I like to stay home and cook for my husband and all this stuff.
Thank you, public. This is my new comfy shirt. You'll see it in a lot of videos. I have taken a page out of your book, public, and I'm putting comfy clothes on when I stream or record.
I'm super uncomfortable. Like I'm sitting on a pile of rocks right now. No, but yeah, doesn't he look nice, guys?
Pubs makes everything the wrong way. Pubs, I'm saying that you wear comfy clothes when you stream, so that's why I'm wearing this one. I'm taking a page out of your book. I'm going to be wearing comfy clothes from now on. Jeez.
But anyway, Brittany Sellner, my main trad wife, is she just had a child, and she kept up with some videos after her child, but she actually has finally said, you know what, I need to focus all on my child. I can't do videos anymore, and my heart is broken.
I don't know who this person is. Send me a link later on.
You're gonna love her. She wrote a book called Patriots Not Welcome. She's an American who had to leave America because it wasn't patriotic enough.
Okay.
So she lives in Germany now.
Very patriotic.
Yeah. She's amazing. But basically her arguments, she'll have videos like show videos of like people on the news making fun of traditional wives. People are like, look at this it dummy. She made dinner for her husband. What a bitch. And so then she'll fight against the people. You know, they'd be like, what's wrong with making food for your husband? It's like pretty cool.
No, I'll check that out. I like that. It's funny the things you get into on the internet when I'm not around you. Like, what else are you watching?
I'm gonna put you on to a lot of YouTubers, my man. But I love the idea that Matt's like we should organize a debate between the lefties and the righties on YouTube, and we're the moderators.
We'll never be invited to that table, right? Because we're just, they want people that are going
to. We could be the ones who create it.
The people would have to make that happen. The Crowder's not going to let us in the studio if we're both sitting there. We're like, Crowder.
There are no people. People are an illusion.
Oh fuck.
There are no people.
I'm losing them.
It is real, man.
I'm losing them. I'm not going through this with you tonight, man. I'm not going through this with you tonight.
Oh my God! You know what?
What?
You would actually love What Is a Woman because he actually argues about the truth thing, the thing that you keep harassing me about.
What? Oh, truth? Yeah.
Truth. He's like, well, people are like, well, it's my truth. And he goes, well, what is truth? And then he's like, are we having a conversation right now? And they'll be like, I don't know, are we? He says, the truth is that we are. Like he does that through the entire documentary. It's there. And every time he does it, I suddenly see like a vision of you, and I'm like, Steve.
I'm telling you, I hang out in front of the Catholic Church and I do the same thing. I'm like, could you show me that in the scriptures? Like, get out of here.
Bubba says she sounds like a white supremacist. She's not a white supremacist. She's just a woman who wants to have kids. You know what I mean? Like,
she wants to make babies.
tell me how we get started. I'll help. Yo, Matt, please. Let's do it. Let's all the three of us put our heads together, and we're gonna make this debate happen.
Let's do it. Let's do it.
We'll get the lefties and the righties on YouTube to debate each other, and we'll draw. You know, it'll be like they draw hats, so suddenly it'll be like Steven Crowder versus Grace Randolph. Like, then they have to
in the chat. What was the guy's name that Steven Crowder ducked when he came on Crowder's show? I forget his name. He used to be a contributor on CNN back in the day. Older white gentleman, glasses, like a really funny guy. I don't agree with all this takes. Sam Cedar. Thank you.
Oh, look at friend breaking it out.
Thank you so much. That was like one of the most amazing moments on the internet. Like
America.
You could see Crowder was just literally, and that's not their first instance like that. Like the story goes that they were supposed to debate before, and
I didn't know this, but this upsets me.
Yeah.
Not that I'm a Crowder fan. I don't even follow him or anything. But the point is if homeboy, he acts like he's a great debater and he knows all this shit. If someone comes to debate him, he should be like, yeah, I'll take you up.
Yeah. 100%.
That is some pussy shit right there.
Bro, what's that black belt? I'm sorry, what is it? A blue belt in jiu-jitsu for if you're going to run away from fucking Sam? Just take the point.
Everyone's a blue belt.
Yeah, let's get into this drink champs thing, man.
We really do in terms of time. So yeah, that was a great conversation that we just had. We've got to move on to our next topic, which is Dave Chappelle and the podcast
GOAT
that happened, but it did not happen.
So can you bring? I guess we don't need to bring the article up for this one. So Dave Chappelle was supposed to be on Noriega's Drink Champs, a wildly successful hip hop podcast on YouTube and Spotify with Noriega, and I always forget his guest, his co-host's name. I apologize, dear brother. It's not because I don't respect you.
Right.
Where they essentially sit down, have drinks, and Noriega, being a surprisingly amazing interviewer, not surprisingly, he's always been a great guy and he's been around the hip hop scene forever. But he is able to pull things out of people. Bro, when he landed that freaking Kanye interview, I don't think I've ever seen Kanye open up to anyone like that, the way he was comfortable around Noriega.
People don't understand Nori and what his place of hip hop was.
Yes.
Because when you see him now, he is a different animal than when he was in 90s hip hop. So when he was in 90s hip hop, he was really considered, no one said it, the knucklehead of rap.
Yeah, he was
he would say, Lyric, for instance, I love him, don't get me wrong, but he would say, run laps around the English Channel, yo, mad dudes got Cocker Spaniels. That's literally a lyric of his. And sometimes he just rhyme whatever with whatever, and you'd be like, this is an ignorant motherfucker.
Yo, and Nori's your typical Bronx cat too. I think he's from the BX, man, Harlem / BX, the area. But yo, I'm happy for the second breath in his career, man. He actually had a interesting take the other day. What
is it? Queensbridge? I think he's from the Queensbridge projects.
No, I think you're thinking about Cormega. We'll look it up. I'm pretty sure. We'll find it. But he had an interesting take the other day before we get into the Dave Chappelle thing. He was commenting on Black and Latino artists not showing up and supporting these platforms that would, that are in the quote unquote culture, and going to places like Ellen and to what's this guy, David Letterman, which I think David Letterman's showing Netflix.
He has an amazing fucking point, actually.
Right. But at a certain point, we'll get into that next. So
here's what I'm saying. In the 90s, I always reference the 90s. You guys can guess what era I pretty much grew up in. In the 90s, you would say that like a black dude would go to, and I'm not, this isn't segregation, guys, or whatever. He would go to someone who was a voice of the community. Am I correct?
Well, yeah, of the hip hop culture for sure.
Right. You wouldn't go to Ellen if you had a new album out.
Well, that's because it was a glass ceiling. Because you would go to Arsenio Hall, for instance. Yes. Arsenio Hall would host all the MCs, and they would come on.
But I respect that. I respect that.
I don't have a problem with either. Okay. But the thing that you have to remember is like, there comes a point where people now, hip hop artists, are more savvy than they were in the 90s, and they're
making more money. That's for sure.
No, not as much as they used to in the 90s. They were making money hand over fist back then. The record label was ripping them off. But here's the thing. They want to branch out into different marketing and branding for themselves, right? Cardi B has been really successful at doing that. So sometimes you're not going to give the interview to Nori. You're going to go on David Letterman because I got to think about me first, and that's going to grow my brand. But I agree with Nori in the sense of like, yo, I'm going to make time for Nori though. I'm going to do David Letterman and Nori. Like, Nori, I'm there in November. Put me in. But I'm still doing David Letterman. I might even do Nori first and then go do
I
David.
would definitely do Nori first. I would be honored to be on a podcast with Noriega. That's insane.
But so speaking of goats, Dave Chappelle, arguably the GOAT, seen by some to be the greatest storyteller and comedic genius, but recognized by other comedians as the GOAT. Bill Burr, Joe Rogan, Chris Rock, Kevin Hart. All these guys will all say the same thing. Want the greatest to ever do it, man. I've always loved the way that Dave is able to spin a story. I wish his podcast with Talib and Mos Def Yasin Bey wasn't behind a paywall on whatever that platform is.
I can't deal with podcasts that are behind a paywall because I mean, I hate to be a hater. I'm not saying that podcasts aren't good. Mm-hmm. But if it's just audio, I don't know if I'm going to pay for that. You know what I'm saying?
I listened to their first free episode, the hour one, and I will say the production level, the cuts and stuff like that, they did a great homage to Amy Winehouse, because I don't know if you know this or if the audience is aware of this. Mos Def had a huge crush on Amy Winehouse. They were really close friends.
Oh, I didn't know that. I thought you were about to say they dated or some shit. I was like, what?
No, he was like, he had real strong feelings for her. Such a weird dynamic to think about. But I listened to it. It's Luminaire, I believe it is. And they shout out. It's really good. It's really good. So Dave Chappelle was on Drink Champs, and apparently they had a grand old time. But
it's all about drinking. Just to let you guys know, the podcast that Chappelle went to was there drinking and having a good time. So Black Star was there. Yeah. Nori was Nori actually there? Or?
Yeah, Nori's always there. Yeah.
So that would be amazing being able to drink with those guys.
And I apparently they had a great conversation, but afterwards, given the climate of everything that's going on right now, Dave Chappelle or his team requested to put it on hold for the time being, to put it on ice, as they say in the industry. What are your thoughts, Amantis?
Well, so people can only speculate about why it's being put on ice, right?
Right.
I assume it's about mass. I don't know if I think we've talked about shooting throughout this entire thing. So mass shootings.
Right.
I assume it has something to do with Buffalo, or I'm saying or Tulsa or whatever. You know, to be honest, who can keep track of all of them, because it happens so often. It's horrible in this country.
It's true.
So this kind of shows you, and I love that this is evident. Chappelle is not a maniac. Even though they want to post him as a maniac because of his hardcore jokes, that he actually does have a limit to where he's going to go. And he's going to go something totally tasteless. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And I think that just shows through his character, man. It's just further evidence that he has great character.
No, he does have great character, man. He's been caught up in controversy since the Netflix special, The Closer. So it was The Closer, and then I don't know if you're tapped in on this. He spoke at a. Yes, Kathy. There was two near me, actually, bro, in Philly and Pennsylvania.
Yeah,
It was in Pennsylvania, but like in the heart of Pennsylvania, and then in Philadelphia on South Street, man. And hey, all my West Coasters, if you've never been to South Street in Philly, go to that part of Philly. It's beautiful. It's happening all the time. But
that has to be beautiful, because the rest of Philly is fucking shitty.
It sucks.
To be honest, every time I've gone to Philly, I'm like, this is Philadelphia.
Yeah.
Bro, it's just like a gross.
If we go there, I'll take you on a tour. Shout out to our homegirl Cece. Sienna is from Philly, and she's shown me around there a couple of times.
Yeah, please take me to a good part, because here's the whole thing. When I used to live in Virginia and I would come back up to New York, I would stop in Philly and go, you know what, I'm going to get a cheesesteak. And whatever neighborhoods I was picking or going to, they were all fucking shitholes. And I was like, this is Philadelphia.
Bro, some very bad hoods out there. But
and even when you go near the Liberty Bell, like there's a lot of there. Like the Liberty Bell is nice, but if you walk like a block to the left, you're in the hood.
Yeah. Well, I went there when I was still working on with that company 33 Degrees during their promotion, and they took us out there and exploited us as young skaters and dancers. Like they had us dancing in the mall.
Dance, monkey, dance.
Here's your Philly cheesesteak.
Show them how cool you are. They're throwing cheesesteaks at you as payment.
But here's the thing, man. Dave Chappelle, you know, there was all the controversy surrounding the closer, and whoa, lady, slow
did you see the comment that I just put up?
I saw that. You slow your roll, Jersey girl. You slow your roll.
Actually, so this is the problem.
You can make that argument
with Lainey. So Lainey,
she hates New York. She's from Jersey.
For instance, she's an Eagles fan, and I said, "What?
Yuck!"
And it's because she's so South Jersey. She's basically Philly.
Yeah. And Northern Jersey, they ain't got no love for Philly, but that's all right. So Dave Chappelle. Dave Chappelle, after the closer, was stuck in controversy. And then, you know, there was the whole alderman thing when he was talking about low-income housing moving into his neighborhood. And people were like, you from the hood, why would you be mad about low-income housing? And what he was actually talking about is he didn't want cheaply built low-income housing built in the heart of his community that would diminish the value and impact the already existing population of Black, white, and I believe Asians as well, people who live there. And this is something they do. They bring low-income housing into an area and they don't upkeep it. So that was another piece of controversy. Go ahead.
So you're absolutely right, and I'm glad that you beat me to it before I interjected, because I was like, wait, he's not a scum. There's a lot of politics in low-income housing, and there's ways to make money off of it.
Hold on for a second.
There's ways to make money off of it, keeping it a slum.
Hold on for a second. I gotta take the bait that Lainey's throwing out there. Lainey, we're not coming at you, but you live in a state that smells like bananas shoved up a hole in this man's ass, and it could be infecting your thinking on this one.
Woo!
New York, baby, New York,
New York. What the fuck was I talking about? There are ways.
We're talking.
There are ways to make money. There are ways to make money off of low-income house by keeping it a slum. There's like, you know what I'm saying? Like, there's a lot of this whole shit. New York, I gotta say, is like the most corrupt place ever. So we
You okay?
Gonna give me a heart attack. This old man.
Ladies, I hate both of you.
There's a way to make money.
We love you, Lainey. You're a Jersey girl. We're New York guys. You know that we're hanging out at the bars. Lainey's are. You know what I've always loved about Jersey girls, and I can tell this about Lainey. If Lainey would have hung out with us when we were younger, she would have always brought the best energy, Lainey. I wish we could have grown up together, because I know you would have been that friend. You know, you always got that friend that comes from Jersey or Philly on the bus and like, yo, what's up? I'm here for the weekend. And they just
right.
rehab afterwards. Okay, we got Cincinnati. That place.
Look what he just said.
Oh, I just thought the entire East Coast smelled like that. Cincy, you're from Cincinnati, man. And Cincinnati will always be Cincinnati. I don't even have to take a shot at Cincinnati. Bro, there's not a relevant joke I could make about.
I don't know
Cincinnati.
anything about Cincinnati. I can't tell you if it's hooded out, if it's nice, if it's a real thing. I don't know anything about that place.
It's underdeveloped.
It's underdeveloped. You go there and there's like a farmhouse there, and you're like, "This is Cincinnati."
Cincinnati's so underdeveloped, you can't even get a layover flight there. Like, they won't land the plane.
She said rehab. Well, I mean, you're not wrong.
No.
What was I saying? Anyway, there's a lot of ways to scam money off of building low-income housing and not keeping it up.
Right.
And I think that's what he's worried about. Happens all the time in New York. I see it all the fucking time. And actually, the town that I actually live in is fighting against low-income housing. And at first, I was very concerned about that. But that was their problem with it. They're like, they're gonna build those shits and leave them to fucking rot.
So here's the thing, man. When it comes to low-income housing, I am for building affordable housing for people in need I just need for it to be done ethically and with conscience, and not done in a rapid way where it turns into another project, which is usually what happens. And then when we start getting into the conversation of Section 8 and these things, and who qualifies, who doesn't qualify, how you remain qualified, is a huge conspiracy theory point that I have. But yes, low-income housing often becomes a trap for all parties involved. And if it's done correctly, then it's not an issue. But as of yet, not many instances where you can say it's been done correctly. They tried this whole thing in California, especially government housing. Correct. That's right, my sister Kathy. California tried this. There was a big push for it to deal with the homeless population in downtown LA, Skid Row area. I think you remember this, Mantis. I was working in all of that stuff, and I was involved with trying to help these people get into affordable housing, and it was all these promises made, and that bastard Schwarzenegger never signed the bill.
Yo, and Pena's wife Anna, her job is to get people housing. Who normally can't get housing to get housing. She's a social worker, and that is a war. That is an endless war. Like, she's a stressed out cat. So there's a lot. It's such an intricate thing. We could, actually, Fanboy Modeling School should make a documentary as long as we're talking about.
Bro, you should talk to the next time you do an interview young Cincy Star, man, because the work that his organization is doing, I've always felt that you should tie those organizations directly to the areas where low income housing is being proposed, right? So he works with a program called Q Kids, and it's helping young ladies that live in these areas and within the inner city, segment their time, find appropriate things to do with their time, and also building up their character, developing skills, everything that you and I grew up with. Imagine if those programs were directly tied to the area where low-income housing is being proposed. Get the programs ready for the people, so you're not just throwing them in apartments and just basically warehousing them. Let's help them get out of these situations. Sorry.
No, I'm feeling you. Laney says we have too much low-income housing here in my town, so literally I'm too rich to rent the apartment and too poor to buy a home, because all you New Yorkers fuckers are pushing our housing way up. So this area is New York is a horrible anchor tied around our necks, increasing the rent of everywhere. Throughout New York State, throughout the tri-state area. That's New York, New Jersey, and Connecticut. If you're in any one of them, your rent is too high because you're in a train rides or a quick drive to the city, and the belief is that the city's going to produce all this money for you. City ain't produced shit for me.
No, it's a lot.
Friends, but I don't get the
Here's the real problem with New York nowadays. A bunch of people from Ohio moving to New York, changing the way shit is done. You ever read that article about that woman that was in the park? And this is a real thing, man. The woman's in the park. And what do we love in the summertime in New York? We love a little Mexican gelato, right? You know, the paisas and the paisanos that walk around the park, and they have either the ices, Italian ices, what have you. And this woman who had moved to New York from Ohio, god damn it,
Midwestern transplant,
filed a formal complaint about these people who had been working in this park legally with licenses for as long as anyone can remember in Brooklyn.
I feel like I've heard this.
Yes, and she nearly got it freaking removed, man. You remember block parties in Harlem?
Right.
Like, done.
Right. I remember this. She almost destroyed the icy trade because a rich white Karen tried to destroy it, who didn't understand the New York thing, and she's like, "They better get away from my children," kind of shit.
Bro, the claim was just under racist. Like, I think she assumed that these folks did not have is Matt from Ohio.
He said everyone from Ohio is Matt.
I think she assumed that the IC people you have to have a license to do this. They're not just like making this shit at home and bringing it outside.
Right.
Like,
and actually, I think Matt is a Michigander.
Michigander. It's crazy. It's crazy.
No, but oh my god, I remember that. I vaguely remember reading about that, about the woman who tried to destroy the icy trade because she was like, they need licenses. These horrible immigrants. This chick is in Brooklyn.
Bro, here's the funny part.
You go to fucking Brooklyn and you.
Wait, son, peep this. This is the best part. When they asked her why this was such a big deal, she was like, I'm outside with my child. Why should I have to deal with my child screaming at me because they want an icy, because they're being tempted by these people selling ices?
Why didn't you control your goddamn kid, bitch? Let you do that. But I'm saying all kids do that, or you could be just a good mother and actually buy one occasionally for the poor kid. Bunch of us people from New York moving down here, so let's kick the Ohio people back to Ohio and the New Yorkers back to New York.
You listen to me, Laney. Jersey is our Canada, and I will shit wherever I want in Jersey as long as I'm alive.
Even if you don't have a license, who fucking cares? Fuck that lady. Yeah, honestly, I would say, because honestly, 99% of icy vendors during the summer do not have a fucking license. Who the fuck cares?
And here's the thing, man, but it goes against the narrative. So I'm going to bang on some of the socially right-leaning New Yorkers, and they do exist, folks. Don't make no mistake about it. From, 59th Street on Madison up to let's say 86th Street on Central Park East. That's where they're all at. That's where all the conservatives in New York City are.
Right.
And
those are the places where you have a doorman who like sucks your dick. And when I mean sucks your dick, you know, like they're like, let me get that for you, miss. If you're on the Upper West Side and there's like a doorman, he's just like, hey, and he just opens the door like a dude. But if you're on the Upper East Side, they're like, here, let me get you for this, madam. How was your shopping trip? It's weird. Those people are, that's how rich they are. They have like doormen who are fucking dick suckers.
But Cincy, how much of a future would they really have in Ohio? Really? I'm just joking. But yo, here's like, I think it would go. It went. The icy thing went against. I saw that. I saw that.
Mangoes, the mango granny. I know the not the mango granny, but here's what it is, guys. If you're not from New York, the mango granny is an archetype where they're women who have chilled mangoes and they go down to the subways and they start carving it up in front of you, and you're like, I want to buy some, and you buy some. They never have a license. They're an immigrant. It's horrible.
Kathy, are you still in the chat? Kathy, what are the older ladies' names in California that sell watermelon and corn with the spice on it? What are those for? I forget the name.
By the way, for Mango Grandma, last time I was in the city, when I got to Atlantic Avenue, I saw a Mango Grandma, and I fell for it, and I bought the mango.
Remember same as in Los Angeles. Remember the guys, the West Indian dudes that would shell? I was telling Bex and Cincy about this. The crabs on the streets when we were growing up, they would just be walking around with a shopping cart with crabs, and you're like,
right, and they're moving it away. Yeah.
They would give it away.
That's you know what, here's the problem. You know what I love about it? I'm sort of a libertarian. That's true capitalism. Let these fuckers sell shit. How dirty can a mango or a crab be? Just fucking do it.
Hold on for a second. I got one that's gonna blow your mind. You know that famous grocery store that's right across the street from where the popcorn place would be, a little bit up from 72nd? You know what I'm fucking talking about. It's a famous produce spot. That spot is licensed, legal, and guess what happened there? A bunch of people got Hep B from eating the fruit there because there was an outbreak from one of their workers.
So, in the counter every year, a major company, at least one major company, has an E. coli breakout.
Yes.
So a lot of people try to say they're like, these immigrants are selling you dirty shit. To be honest, it's everywhere. Even the major corporations are selling me.
To counter you, I have yet to hear that anyone had bought fruit from the banana grandma in Brooklyn or in Washington Heights and gotten fucking Hep B.
No, I feel that. Yeah, no, I feel that. I feel that. But what I'm saying is, food in general is a gamble.
Why are you protecting the man? You're
protecting the man.
No, I'm protecting the independent grandma selling fruit. You're protecting the big fruit store. You're obviously on
the big
payroll.
Fruit store is selling you E. coli.
That's what I just said, you moron.
No, you're the moron because what I'm saying is everyone's selling us E. coli occasionally. It's all over.
Not the grannies in the train station. When have you heard one report?
Well, I mean, I have not heard a report, but I don't think they would report that. But the point is, The point is, it's all a gamble. So just let these people sell their shit.
People from Ohio can withstand everything since the water is radioactive. We got superpowers.
I love that shit in Family Guy when
let me just wrap up Dave Chappelle, man. So here's the thing. Right. So he's gone through these controversies. I think that even though Dave is beyond the point of being canceled, he's not above making sure he doesn't say needlessly hurtful things. So whatever's in that interview, I'll wait to hear it, man. But Dave Chappelle is one of those guys, man. I love hearing him on Rogan. I love hearing him talk, man. Have you watched his interview with David Letterman on that show David Letterman has on Netflix?
I did watch.
Really good. Really good.
Well, I watch all his comedy specials, but I've always been a fan of him since back in the day.
Yeah.
Since Half Baked. And you know what? No one was a fan of him during when he made Half Baked. He was a nobody.
Yeah.
But when I'm like, oh, it's Black Ass.
That movie really surmised the buying of weed in Washington Square Park.
No, it was perfect. He's like, that shit ain't weed. He was brilliant. So I love him. I love everything he's gonna do, and the fact that he's with Blackstar and Noriega, that's even more reason why I really wish I could be a fly on the wall and watch that podcast.
Bro, I don't know if you heard this, but Cincy and I did this on Dumbing Out. Talib just got punched in the eye recently. We don't have time to get into that. Yeah, it's very, very interesting stuff, man. But I would want to see it too, man. And here's the thing about it, man. And now we're gonna get back to the whole, people coming to New York, going to Jersey, ruining things. We can all agree, right, that Kansas City sucks. So if there's anyone in here from Kansas City, you might as well jump.
Oh, Kansas City. You might as well be dead if you're living in Kansas City. Yo, it's over for you. You failed the game of life. You either have to make it to one coast or the other, and there are some nice spots along the way on either way. But if you're in the dead center of the country, Kansas City, you ain't shit. Okay?
If you're from St. Louis, best thing ever happened to you was Nelly. Public says,
is he from Kansas City?
No, he's from St. Louis. I'm dissing St. Louis too.
Oh, St. Louis! Don't get me started in St. Louis.
That stupid arc.
What's the F? I'm from Kansas City. Oh man, this has been a great one. I'm glad we could talk about Chappelle. I'm glad we covered all our bases. We shat all over YouTuber X. I feel I'm great.
Just say it. Just say Grace Randolph.
I used to really look up to you, but now I know you're just a corporate stooge. Chappelle, we love you.
Need more of you.
Yeah. Moses Ingram, it's not your fault. You're a mad actress. You don't respect sci-fi, just like Natalie Portman. You could be a good actress in good stuff. You just don't understand sci-fi. So get out of my Star Wars.
It's a good take.
There we go.
We took a time to dump on everyone's state.
And by the way, California needs to be nuked.
Ooh.
I hate California.
Northern or southern? Or just California in general?
I'm going to let them both present to me. I don't mean present as in shoving their ass up in my face so I can hit that. I mean, they can do a presentation of why they should exist, and I'll decide whether I'm going to nuke them or not.
Man, this is like justify.
But I just California in general. Everything I hear about California, every time I see anything coming out of California, I'm like, oh god.
Bro, I gotta tell you though, man, living out there, I mean, after the drug addiction was amazing. It was absolutely amazing.
No, but I'm saying, why does everybody I know who ever went out there come back and they're like, that trip sucked, man? You know?
Pub says, bro, you're gonna run to California when the nukes go off, so shut the
Yo, the nukes are going to California. You don't think they're gonna attack the Hollywood and all these other places?
I have to explain to you that you're out of the blast radius, yield, and fallout one more time. You're okay.
Well, no, but I don't want to be in a state that gets nuked.
No, I know that, but
all these poor people are gonna come to my door and they're like, we want food. I'm like, fuck off.
I'm a libertarian. Do what you will.
Yeah, I'm a libertarian. I'm moving to the middle of the country.
Yo, since he starts says, "Don't worry, the San Andreas fault will remove the need for a new."
Oh Jesus, that's another thing. Yo, California's gonna get like broken off from. It's gonna sail out into the middle of the Pacific.
I'm starting the campaign. Hashtag Let's take Canada back. Let's take it
Yo,
back.
at this point, we should. They're animals. They're savages.
If one more weird picture of their prime minister comes out, man,
that dude, honestly,
he's giving me real De La Hoya vibes, real Oscar De La Hoya.
Honestly, I can't wait to take a piss on him.
Shout out Dumbing Out. Yeah. Shout out to Dumbing Out. Will be since he's starting out. Will be going on tomorrow night at 10 p.m. Eastern. I don't know if there's going to be a conversation because I didn't book anyone, so I might just do a panel thing. Maybe I'll call Mantis up, call a few people up. We haven't done a panel on conversations in a while, free flow. And Wednesday night, what do we have on Wednesday nights? We have Dope Dynamics, obviously, since you saw Bex and DaVinci and I. Hey, did you tune in for this episode of I guess we can agree on that? DaVinci and I got real personal. We were talking about her dating habits. It was an interesting episode.
Really?
Had a good time. Yeah, it was a good time.
I love and support you.
And then Thursday,
that's all I can say about that.
Power Latinas, 8 p.m. And then Request Box Live, 10 p.m. And then Booty Papa Shakin' Friday night, directly after Enough Said Radio. Booty Papa Shakin', DJ Senti's been popping off. Don't miss another set.
Don't mess with DJ Sensi. He's got the shit down, my friends. But the Fat Mantis is back on his brunch with the Fat Mantis every weekday at 11:30 a.m. We're hanging out for at least 2 hours. Come hang out with me, please. We love you. All this stuff. Public is doing Wednesday through Saturdays, 10 p.m. gaming streams on Twitch. And actually, this Wednesday, we got a very special thing. 6 p.m., we've got Mothership Monday on a Wednesday. And then I'm immediately jumping in to my Rogue Planet stream, where we are going to be talking about Stranger Things Season 4 and all things Stranger Things. So if you're a fan of Stranger Things, you want to be there. And honestly, we're going to have yet another return of men supporting men. I know we're super infrequent at this point. We're like every third week or second week or 10th week. And that's going to be happening on Friday. So please check that out.
Okay. We're here for it. But if I show up again and you break my heart, I'm burning out of your studio.
It's been a rough couple of weeks. I love you all. Thank you all for coming in. Thank you all the support, everyone out there. Till next time. Ciao. For now, bitches.